Hi, I'm Leena Batchelor, Worcestershire Poet Laureate 2020-21 and Poet in Residence for the Commandery at Worcester. Some of you will know me as Pixie Muse, Poetry and Prose. I am beyond excited to be asked to perform as part of BBC Introducing Airwaves Festival this May bank holiday. I have always believed that words, poetry in particular, has much more importance than the dusty bookshelves to which we are so often consigned after our mandatory years of studying them at school. They are a tool for both release and expression, and have as much relevance as a medium of recording our stories and voices today as they did in years when spoken word was the messenger's only available method. You could say I have a genetic history that predisposes me this way, having a Finnish mother and the Scandinavians' love of storytelling at banquets. But we all have a voice, and all have the right to express that voice. We all have a story, and future generations deserve to hear those stories. How else can they understand their past and plan their futures? So, that's my rambling over. Now for some poetry. If you were expecting highbrow, intellectual, or hard-hitting slam-style poetry, I am neither. But I do have a message for everyone. So indulge me for a few moments and allow the absorption of words and emotions that's coming your way. This first poem is in two parts. During our first lockdown in March 2020, I was honoured to be asked by a poet called I Like Zach to take part in a series of Zoom spoken word events to build a chain of hope around the world. And boy, did we surround the world. We had performers and audiences from all over the UK, various states in the US, Canada, Germany, Poland, several countries in Europe over a 6-week period. For that series, I wrote a 3-part poem called Weather the Storm. Part 1 is next, and Part 2 is at the end of my set. And if you ask nicely via my social media channels, I'll record Part 3 for you. So here is Part 1. Weather the Storm. Changes. Weather the storm. Changes. I thought I'd be alone and lonely, but I've had the fortune of being neither. Words in the ether have filled the void left by missing hugs, and songs have cuddled my ears. We have touched, virtually, tantalizingly. We have met online, emoticons replacing affection. Voices have been overlaid with truth, the truth of what we need and really feel, the want of greed removed. Ghosted recordings of this time will be recalled in echoes, weaving our strands into winding cloths of memory, tragedies hugged with the love grown from negative spaces. We have given ourselves permission to lie fallow, to allow the soil of our lives to rest, so it no longer weeps from the sorrow of a barren harvest, the crops of time and reflection. We have missed crowds and welcomed groups. We have missed noise and welcomed birdsong. We have fought the war and welcomed peace. We will step warily into the burgeoning world, a brave new world. We will rush to hug in our arms and hold close those who step through that door with us. We will hug in our hearts those who have stayed in the shadows. We will be proud of the bravery of society's soldiers who fought on a different war front to our grandparents, whilst fearful for their own. Those who stepped forward without conscription daily to face unseen shots from behind battle lines drawn in silence. Those we thought unimportant in an older regime of materiality. We have weathered the storm, a storm which has weakened and strengthened us all. So this second poem is called Interference. It was actually written a while back, but I often find poems written months, even years ago, still have a relevance today, especially when they deal with the subjects of nature and our disregard for the beautiful planet we live on and the lack of care we show it sometimes. This is Interference. Interference. There is one simple question I always ask myself upon hearing human plans for ecological security. The truth of the matter is a darkened mystery. Civilized and organized, claiming democracy, yet the essential essence of nature has never owned a vote. Bringing up my children to respect their given life, shamefully acknowledging the mistakes we can't put right. In growing and in changing, we've let our hearts go blind, so only our babes look on in awe at the privileged sights around. Nightly as they dream, they see the rainbow wings of fire that dance in tranquility in oceans deep, with tunes, lyres, to accompany the playful throes of waves, the dolphins' home. Gazing idly on, they feel the crystal healing of rivers coursing through the stone. How little cuts the adult heart, now granite formed. We try to own, we make dependents of those we depend upon. Commissions for recovery, too late to be concerned. All we need to do is accept paths that cycle on. Nature is its own life force, not a creation of human trends. We have no right to make it such. Yet, maybe we've done too much to ever put it right. So this next poem is called Twilight Within. I often find it interesting, the subjects that inspire me to write poetry. This poem was actually inspired by someone very close to me. We were scanning through old photo albums, and I do the same as I'm sure many of us do. Look back at photos and go, "Oh, I look horrible in a picture. Please don't take that one of me." And in this day and age of constant selfies and pictures on social media, we are always comparing ourselves against an idealized image, which isn't us. It doesn't show us for who we really are. And this person said exactly the lines that are in this poem. Your eyes are the same. Your smile looks the same. He could see beyond the picture, beyond the paper. And that's the inspiration for this poem, Twilight Within. Twilight Within. You have me now at twilight, the time of fading petals and shadowed highlights. Unlike me, you see the vibrant beauty that lies within, burnished under the skin. Your eyes are the same, you say. Your smile looks the same, you say, as you turn the pages of the album. And I try to see what you see. I recall the image when first taken, and how I decided then against those paper reflections of myself. But now I ache for the youth that once was me. Then I sense what you sense. The person who stood before the lens is, was, will always be me. The wrapping is creased now, worn by tides of life, but well worn and wearing well still. A wrapping held together by a warm smile and shining eyes. Eventually, I see beyond the lens and into the picture, the truth the photographer captured. You have me now at twilight, a time of richly scented petals and deep highlights, blossoming rewards for living through youth's daylight. So this poem is called Falling, I Fell. Those people who know me know that when I say I've written a love poem, it's not some trite, sappy, pink, fluffy, candy sugar offering. It's often something far deeper, far more sensual and evocative. And again, as with so many of my poems, this one is inspired by real events, real sensations, real feelings, and I have no doubt that many of you will be able to identify with some of the themes in this. If not, then let your imaginations roam and feel the meanings hidden beneath this. Falling, I fell. Falling, I fell. The exquisite agony of waiting without permission. The yearning to accompany rivulets of water droplets and thoughts of touches, tracing calligraphy on skin by lips, fingertips, your breath. A whispering of intent, the exquisite agony of yearning. I still sense your scent on my hair, the breath of your whispers against my neck, the strength of your tenderness as your hands caressed me, sensibility betrayed by sensuality. Catch me, let me fall. So here we are at the end, and as promised at the beginning, here's part 2 of the Weather the Storm series. This is called Weather the Storm We Have Endured, and indeed we truly have through such a challenging year. This pandemic has taught us many things, many lessons. It's shown us hardships, but it's also showed us a renewed sense of community and what's important in our life. I hope these are lessons that we never forget. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Weather the storm we have endured. Weather the storm we have endured. Were you alone? Did you miss me? Are you stranded now upon a shore built from a fresh fear as we re-emerge? Still the anxious fluttering within your heart and listen to the echoes of the storm, the aftermath of its fading and the song of the moments it created. Moments now that tell of a new hope, a new touch, a new us. In the weathering, we have forged a chain of creativity that has hugged the world and broken down barriers, walls of despair. Don't let its chains break now. In the weathering, we have shared, opening both hearts and ears to electronic channels and new communications. Found new ways to find our peace, and in the search, new connections. As the storm's roar fades, we need not be in contact every day, every week, every month. Let's not pressure ourselves as we did before to be on and doing every second, but at the breath of every moment. Let's remember this newfound touch of humanity, this glimmer of light in the darkest of days. Let's not forget how that feels. And in our emergence from these constraints, remember, we were distant but physically, not socially. This is our time to show that humanity and its sibling empathy can endure. Let's not waste this precious gift of time and reflection. Make the change and speak your piece for all to hear. Well, that's me. Hope you've enjoyed listening to the poems as much as I've enjoyed recording them for you. And I hope it inspires you to write some of your own words or listen to more of the spoken word offerings, a wonderful variety that we have on offer in this county. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Listen well. Goodbye.